you over there. I see you struggling with the numbers, but don't have no fear, cause I'm right here. We're gonna grow and learn together, there's no need to despair. Math cool like breeze, I can learn it with ease. So leave your concerns because it's time to learn.
Hey guys, and welcome to my first official video on YouTube. For today's video, we'll be looking at the different groups of numbers found on the number line. But before we get into it, I was actually interested in finding out more about the history of numbers and where it all began. So I decided to embark on a beautiful and mysterious journey of unearthing the magical. Okay, that's actually not what happened. I basically skimmed a few websites on the internet, but here's what I found. The very first numerical system was created by the Egyptians, so big ups to them. But numbers as we know them today was actually created in India hundreds and hundreds of years ago. The main purpose for numbers was to count things, but basically a bunch of different people started discovering new ways to use numbers and started researching things that they had no business researching, and all of that helped to develop the intriguing and complex subject we know today as mathematics. Today we use numbers in every area of life, and they help to tell the story of how we live and interact with each other, which I think is pretty cool. Alright. The next thing is that in math, we refer to a group of things as a set. So when discussing the different groups of numbers, I will be using this word a lot. Also, sets in math are always given a label, usually a letter, and these different sets of numbers are all commonly known by their labels. So we will be learning about that as well. Okay, now that we've gotten that and that small history lesson out of the way, let's look at our first set of numbers. The set of natural numbers is also called the set of counting numbers because it has all the numbers that we count with. So 1, 2, 3, 100 are all a part of the set of natural numbers, and the label given to this set is n. You can think n for natural. Next up, we have the set of whole numbers, which is very similar to set n, except that it also has the digit 0. So it starts at 0 and contains all the other numbers that belong to the natural number set. That's the set of whole numbers, and the label is, you probably guessed it, W. Here are some examples of whole and natural numbers that we see every day. Now let's move on to another set. The set of integers not only has the entire whole number set, but also has the negative versions of every natural number. So for example, -5, -3, -100 are all a part of the set of integers. And here are some examples of integers that we see every day. Now I hate to break it to you, but the label given to the set of integers is z. And I know this is where it starts, okay? Like, we were doing so good with the labels up to this point, and it seems like math is just trying to be complicated for no reason, but hear me out. I did say earlier that a bunch of different people were discovering these numbers, and it just so happened that the group that discovered the set of integers decided to label it from the German word Zahl, which means number. And that is why the label is Z. So it's Z for the set of integers. Okay, moving on. The set of rational numbers is up next, and this set includes numbers that can be expressed as fractions or ratios. You can think ratio in rational. This means that decimals that can be written as a repeating pattern are also a part of the set. For example, in both of these numbers, the patterns repeat forever. The label given to the set is Q, and before you say it, Q comes from the Italian word quoziente, which means quotient, which is another word for fraction. Here are some examples of rational numbers that we interact with every day. Finally, we have the set of real numbers labeled by R, And this is the biggest set of numbers there is, because not only does it contain all the natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, and rational numbers, but it also contains every other real number that is not a part of those groups. So numbers like pi, root 2, and other decimals that have no repeating pattern are all a part of the real number set. Here are some examples. Well, the only one that actually matters. Now, I'm going to be real with you. You might be thinking that real numbers is where it ends, but in math, there are also imaginary numbers. That's right, mathematicians have somehow found a way to categorize and use numbers that don't even exist. Now, you may never ever have to deal with imaginary numbers in your entire life, but if you are thinking about exploring the subject on an advanced level, I just thought you should know that there is such a thing. I will say though that it was such a cool concept to learn, and believe it or not, there are many areas that imaginary numbers are used in, like electronics, specifically in cellular and wireless technology, which sounds really cool. Okay, so to wrap up today's video, we looked at a brief history of numbers, we defined the word sets in mathematics, we learned about the different sets of real numbers and even some that are not so real. And that pretty much covers it. Thanks for tuning in to today's video, and I hope that you learned something new, which if you did, be sure to drop it in the comments below, and feel free to click the like button if you liked it. Also, be sure to tune in to next week's video, but before then, be a friend and tell a friend. Remember, we are all in this together because math is life.